Hi, I just want to share with you my very first project off of my Cutie. And actually, it's totally not off the Cutie because I started this before the Cutie was delivered, before I even knew I would get it. So I had already literally made the quilt, you might say. I had put right sides together and did the piping and then flipped it, and then I stitched on my domestic machine with the walking foot around the roads. So all I had left to do then was to meander in between the roads. Okay, so that's what I did on the Cutie, and it was great to have it so that I wasn't shoving this part, even though it's not a very big quilt. I would have been moving the fabric under the needle. So it was awesome to be able to use the Cutie for that. So we had started out putting my domestic machine on there, and you don't get, with my domestic anyway, not, I have a Brother QC 1000 Innovis, and I think maybe I had 6 inches, which 6 inches is not a lot. Now, if that's the best you can do, that's better than nothing. Having the this is Esther, my original 14 plus, so having her on the rails is awesome. And oh my goodness, look, it's my little finger. Gosh, she just moves so easy. So it's great having her. You can also have a Unique 19 on these rails, which that would be really wonderful, having the 19-inch throat. But you know what? I'm fine with Esther here. And what was nice was I was actually able to put this on there. Since the road goes the entire way around, I was able to do this without having to use a leader cloth. So Carla at the Grace Company, she did a really good video showing about using leader cloth or making your backing extra wide and long so that you could use your backing as effectively as a leader cloth. Because the way it basically works is you're attaching to this top rail. So I'm going to bring that underneath my hopping foot there. So what I did was, and look, these are my little dollar store gadgets. I needed another hand. So I did that to hold it in place. So that was pretty nice. And you have these 3 clamps, okay? And so I would do the center one, and so it's very forgiving to use. So what I did was I just did this one, okay, and then I won't actually do them. You have the word Cutie facing you, and then I did these other 2, and of course took the clamp off. So I did that, and then down here I have these 2, okay, and then again you have the word Cutie. Oh, sorry, you have the word Cutie facing you. So I was able to clamp these, and this gave me a nice surface to I'll set those over to the side to just, quilt on. And now you do have these little side clamps that if you needed them, like if it was what you were doing was wider, then your if your quilt was wider than what the frame is, you do have those on the side to hold them there. But obviously I didn't need that, and so this was great just to do that. And to start out, I just held my thread, and I did the machine's not plugged in, but I did needle down and needle up, and I pulled my bobbin, and then I did needle down, needle up a few more times to give me those little locking stitches so it wouldn't pull out. And then when I got to where I needed to stop, I just allowed it to do a few tiny stitches, and then stopped, hit stop, and then did needle up and needle down and pull my bobbin. So that's how I started and stopped. So that worked out really well. And I took, this is what you can have. It loads here, and your machine sits on it, and the handles stick out right here. But of course, if you've got your handles up here, you don't need that. So I took that off, And there's actually a thing you can get that your machine will set on so that your handles are up here. So, and so that's what these things are for, is if you need to have the handles, then you're able to roll this up, and that clamps it. And then that's what these are, is as you need to roll this up, then let's grab one. Then you're able to clamp this. And then you've got to be real careful to get those out of the way, because if you leave that hanging underneath, and then your machine catches it, and you can quilt this to the back side of your quilt. So I had already read, don't let that happen, but did I let it happen? Of course I did. So I feel fully initiated now. And there is a Facebook group called Cutie Quilters, and so much help there. The ladies there are great. Glad to share all they've learned. There's videos. So if you're interested in a cutie frame, absolutely join the Cutie Quilters Facebook page. And also on YouTube, just do a search, Quilting with a Cutie or Cutie Quilting. There's a lot of videos already. So I will be watching them and learning from them. From what I understand, I'll either need to attach leaders to this or use an extra big backing. So I have that yet to do, because here I was just cheating. I was able to get away with it and cheat. So I'm glad for that. And I have all my little stuff set up. So I always keep a little self-threading needle. That's the kind where you can pop the thread tails into the very end of the needle. So, and this is one of them little magnets like you can get at the dollar store. So that holds my little needle there for me. And I have my scissors here, so I have that. And then I have another little magnet over there, so I have my tweezers if I need them. So I'm all set up there. And so I guess my final assessment for me on the Cutie is, because I have a 21 Pro on a 12-foot continuum that I totally love, I don't ever see doing a big quilt on this. After having that luxury, I would probably go nuts. Just being honest here. Will I ever put QCT on this? I don't know. I would need to add the hardware. So I don't know if I will do that or not. I don't know. But I will comment that if I did, I think I would only do blocks. The thought of doing a pantograph, what I can do, and then shifting it and having to get it lined up and clamped down so that it's exactly the same, I think that would drive me batty. I'm sure there's people out there doing it and happy and successful about it, but I think, so just talking for me, if I use QCT, I'll be doing blocks, because with a block, you're able to tell exactly where the corners are, or if it's a triangle, you're able to exactly tell it. And it doesn't matter how wonky, you could have it, you could even, if you wanted to take advantage, that's another cool thing about the Cutie frame, is if you needed to load it like this, just to take advantage of where you wanted to quilt, you can literally load this any way you want to. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, it would be, I think having the Cutie frame to do something, a small block that fits with your throat, you could do some phenomenal quilting. And I'm able to sit in a chair. So this chair works great. And this is just sitting on a table. This is just a folding table that we have. And of course, it's adjustable in height. Some people are getting the Husky tables from some of the big box warehouse places. But yeah, you're able to just do this, and this is the micro stippling foot on there, and you just have so much control. So for free motion, I think for free motion on a small project, and so I'm just speaking for me, because I really don't want to do something large. And how large can you do? Whatever is going to be able to roll up into the throat of whatever machine you're using. That's the size you can do. But, having said that, let's just say you have a smaller machine and you really want to do a king size. Could you? Maybe. Because you know what you could do? you could do, say, half of it, okay, and you would have half of it rolled here, and then you could flip it around, okay? You could flip it around and then do the other half. So if half of what you're doing will roll up into your throat, and you can still do the same look quilting, whether it's right side up or upside down, so to speak, then that's another way of looking at it. It's not like a rolling rail where you're kind of committed, and you want it all to fit in your throat. But because you are undoing every time you shift to another area, you're undoing everything. So you have a whole lot of control with where you place this and how you place it and what gets rolled up into the throat and shifting it around and rolling it from this side, rolling it from this side, rolling it from this edge, rolling it from this edge, because that's exactly what I did, even doing this little thing, just because I was quilting next to this road. So I kept switching it around, and like, this is a good example. Okay, so right here, I couldn't have done this whole thing if I had left it loaded this way, but by shifting it around and then having this horizontal up here, I was able to do all of it at once. So you're able to have a lot of control with where you load it and just go crazy with moving your quilt around to take the best advantage of the space you want to quilt with what's available with the neck of your machine. Because that's the thing with these machines is what's your tolerance level for quilting with whatever space you have, and then totally unclamping and then moving it. But you know what? If this was all I had and all the space I had, and somebody took my 21 Pro and my 12-foot Continuum, and this was all I had, you know what? I would take it. I would absolutely take it, because it's so nice to move your machine around. Now, when you only have 6 inches of space, that's not much. You're going to do a lot of shifting and clamping and shifting and clamping, but if that's all you got, then it's I speak from experience, because I had a set down tiara where you're shifting the fabric instead of the machine, and that really can get to your shoulders. So even a little bit of space, it's nice to move your machine, but yeah, you're going to be doing a lot of shifting. So be aware of that. We all have our own levels of what we're willing to tolerate. What are the pluses? What are the minuses? So anyway, I hope that if you've been thinking about a Cutie, maybe some things I've shared have helped you. I do recommend it, especially for small projects, because that's what I plan to use it for. I had a lot of fun doing this. It did not take long at all. It's like anything else. The more you do something, and even shifting, okay, the more you do it, the faster you get at it. And this just being my very first one, and just the weirdness of clamping, I still got faster even with just this one little small project. So I hope that I hope that what I've shared has helped you a little bit if you're interested, and that especially if you have small projects to do, that you would, and that's another thing. What if I took a big quilt off of the big frame, and then as I'm looking at it, I see a spot, I'm like, oh my gosh, that needs to be redone. How easy would it be just to set it here on the end? Because you don't have to do the full clamping as long as you've got a decent surface to quilt on. I could even do repairs if I needed to from my big quilt. So that's kind of a fun thought too. I'm glad that doesn't happen very often, but it does. So anyway, I hope you have found this helpful.